All right, class, welcome to Lecture 2, where we're going to be talking about early Chinese civilization. Earliest villages of in China date back to about 8000 BCE, and there we find pottery decorations that marked a transition from hunting and gathering into a life of farming and village living, similar to what we found in the earlier civilizations that we talked about. A more complex society, however, doesn't take place really until 2000 BCE, which we're going to be talking about a little more today. As in Mesopotamia, Egypt, and the Indus Valley, the rise of cities specializing of labor, bureaucratic government, writing, and other advanced technologies depended on the exploitation of a greater river system. Whether there's two main rivers in China that we're talking about, the Yellow River and the Yangtze. Although there is archaeological evidence, some stating that there were movements of goods through trade and services between Western and Eastern Asia. Development in China was largely independent of the complex societies in the Middle East and the Indus Valley. Now, geography. What made China so special? First is that it is isolated from the rest of the Eastern Hemisphere. They have a ton of natural barriers, whether you're talking about the Pacific Ocean on the east, whether you're talking about the Himalayan mountains, largest mountain range in the world, the Gobi Desert, or the Mongolian steppe. China is extremely isolated, which allows it to be protected from invaders. I talked about the mountains. Not only the Himalayas, but most of East Asia is covered with mountains, making overland travel, transport, and communication extremely difficult. Now, the climate. What type of climate are we talking about? Climate zones of East Asia range from the dry to the subarctic reaches of Manchuria into the north to subtropical forests in the south. So you have a wide range of climate, which allowed for different parts of the country and region to specialize in different things. Because of this, there was a rich variety of plants and animal life adapted to these climate and vegetation zones. Speaking of plants and animal life, staple crop in northern China were millet, which is a grain indigenous to China, and wheat, which spread from East Asia, was spread to China from the Middle East. Rice, however, requires a warmer climate and prospered in the south. It also requires a great amount of labor, which we talked about yesterday on Wednesday, which that labor forms social classes and distinguishment between those. However, there was a huge domestication of pigs, dogs, goats, and perhaps other horses. One more thing about rice. Why is rice so important? The main reason rice is important is because it can feed more people per cultivated acre than any other grain. When you have more food, people are more healthy, they can produce more, and you get a bigger population. And because rice was more suitable to the south, you have a greater population in the south than in the northern part of China. Now, early Chinese dynasties. We're going to talk about two of them. First, the Shang dynasty from 1776 through 1122 BCE. They left a written record, oracle bones. Make sure you pay plenty attention of that as you are reading. Copper metallurgy, all that type of stuff. Similarly to what we talked about in the previous dynasties. What I really want to talk about is the Zhou dynasty. It's pronounced Zhou, even though we might pronounce it a little differently. They supplanted the Shang dynasty by adhering to a strict ethical conduct. The Zhou theory of politics rested on the assumption that earthly events were closely related to heavenly affairs. So everything that happened on earth had something to do with a god or somebody above making it happen. More specifically, heavenly powers granted the right of the governed. So the lords gave the people in charge the right to rule. And what they called that was the mandate of heaven. This is an extremely important concept that you understand, and really one of the main points of the lecture. Basically, the ruler served as a link between heaven and earth, and because there was that link, they had the right to rule. He had the duty to govern conscientiously, observe high standards, and honor and justice, and maintain order and harmony within his realm. That was the duty of the ruler, to govern conscientiously, observe high standards, and maintain order. That was his duty. As long as the ruler abides by those principles, they have the right to govern. People cannot throw them off. That is the mandate of heaven. And this mandate of heaven, that the lords, the heavens gave the rulers the right to rule, this is a cycle that goes on until the 20th century, until the communists take over. This mandate of heaven, continues throughout all of Chinese century or Chinese history, and that is why it is so important. Down to that fourth bullet down there where it says decentralized. Unlike the Shang, the Zhou rulers knew that they had too big of a land to govern themselves. Because of this, they decentralized the central government's power and gave more power to the districts, to the local districts, and this was eventually their downfall. Districts got, or the provinces got a little more powerful. They felt that they can take over the government, and that's exactly what's going to eventually happen. It says at the end of their ruling, the Zhou ruling was an extremely violent time, and that is what is known as the period of the warring states. But the main thing is about this mandate of heaven that the Chinese, the Zhou dynasty really created and really stuck with Chinese history until the communists took over during the 20th century. So please fill out your summaries. I know it's a quick lecture. Fill out your summaries, and I will see you all on Monday. Hope you have a great weekend. Bye.